Just me, a place to be me, where you get to experience life. 'Cause life is a journey, not a guided tour. If you want the rainbow, you have to go through the rain. Welcome back, guys. Thank you so much for joining us. This episode, we're going to continue with the theme of New Year, New You, aligning your values for better money management and life choices. And this episode, we're going to talk about money mindset and management and how your values impact that. So last week, we discussed what values were, and we kind of understood that values are deeply held principles that guide your beliefs, behaviors, and decisions. They act as personal compasses and help you to align your actions with truly what matters to you. And that can also be with your finances. So, how do our values shape our spending, our saving, and our investing habits? Money management usually involves balancing your income, expenses, and savings and investments to achieve your financial stability and long-term goals. So, for you ladies, as far as values go, how do values shape our spending habits?
Well, it's for me, it says that it's very crucial in shaping like how we save, how we spend, and how we invest. Like just depending on where you are in life. For example, somebody might prioritize emergency funds, somebody might prioritize travel, somebody might prioritize personal development. I know me personally, value system between age like 18 to 25, 26. Oh, it was all about travel fun or whatever. So I value that investment. No, I worry about security 65 or 70 years old. I got a whole life to live. So then in my next phase of life, it was like, you know what? Education. So all my money went to education and books, 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 going to school. I wanted to focus there. Travel, I did a little bit of traveling, but not as much because I had to pay for that school. And then after that, it's like, wait a minute, I'm getting closer to retirement. It's like, that's looking a little shabby, all of those trips. So now the focus, I still travel, I still invest in my self development, but put more aside for emergency fund and looking over family and things like that because of just where I am. So it does it doesn't take away any values that I have, but they might have shifted and prioritizing where that's where my focus is. But I still don't lose sight because traveling is still important to me. Self development is still important to me. And now it's just like I can have all three, but because like I say, I'm closer to retirement than I am to my 21st birthday.
So that spending habit is going to be a little different based off of what you value. And it sounds like you're valuing that security
Mm-hmm.
that
Yep.
retirement can bring or that retirement should bring. Okay. Okay. I know that one of the things that um, I see between the group of friends that I have is that when we think about when we talk about how we spend our money, I know I have a group of friends who really value what it is to have the new Jordans or have a fly sneaker game or an outfit or a purse. And there are another group of my friends who have children and who value more of allowing exposing their children to experiences and that education and different things of that nature. So their money goes to that. And then I have another group of friends who we really appreciate the travel. And so we spend a lot of our money in that. So it all depends, like Tracy was saying, it depends on where you at in your phase and stage of life and how that is going to lead your habits.
And it's funny when you were saying I just think about one of my children and this one child of mine, and when he hears this, he know I'm gonna be talking about him. But like mommy could stretch $100 and you can get 99 things with this $100 and be happy because you wanted this, this, this. Everybody else is like, yes. But this one particular child, if he only wanted that one thing that cost 99.99 and he only got one thing, he
He was
valued,
happy.
he was happy. And I'm looking at him like, but you only got one. You could have had 5, 6, 7, 8. But if I gave him those 5, 6, or 7, 8 things, it would be thank you. But if I gave him what, again, in his, he valued this, whether it was a look, whether it was a, whatever it was, when he got that, it was hands down. And that was like, whoo. So when you say that, it's not just with adults, it's even with the little kids. And I mean, he did that early, like early. It got to the point where it's like, okay, here you go. You get your 1 or 2 things where everybody else can have 9, 10, 11, or 12 things, but everybody was happy.
But as you all expressed, it's what's important to that person.
Yeah.
And that's something that a lot of people struggle with. Like, what is important to you? You know, what's important to me may not be important
Mm-hmm.
to you. And what you expressing as it relates to that child that you have, or the child that you have, if you would have gave him like 5 or 10 of those things out of that $99, he was not happy. And
You
what
wanted that one thing.
yeah.
Mhm.
And what that happens is depression could start, anxiety could start, because that's just not him.
And even in the beauty of that is he did not change. I had to change. I could have kept like, it's like he never crossed like thank you. But if I wanted to really make him happy, it's like meet him where and I do that, and it was so now it's like it's not even a thought, it's an automatic response. Like I wouldn't do it for myself, but here you go. And and he is just so pleased and happy with it. So, and again, standing true to who you are, and it's okay to be you, and that's how it is, just me. And it's okay to be you. It's okay to be you. It's okay to be you.
So, with that being said, how do we shift from budgeting to more value-based spending where we where we reflect on what truly matters? So I know that with the economy in 2025, the way it is, their items are a lot more expensive. And that's just how we have to live right now as a society, and we have to adjust accordingly. So, with that being said, there may be some things that we have to cut back on. So, cutting back, but then also feeling like you're not cheating yourself. Where does that balance? How do we balance that, ladies?
I say education for me. I know for me, like even when you said the word budget, it's like because it was a struggle for me. It was like budget, like it's my money. I do what I want. That's my budget. You like, because my value, I want to do this, I do that. But when you educate yourself on, and again, we'll say financial literacy, it's like, well, wow, I can do a lot with this, like this 25 cent and still get everything, but I need to that instant gratification, I guess that was the word. Not really having to satisfy that, but be able to do all those things in the long run, but maybe putting something here, putting something there. So I had to learn how to value like money or value a budget. And again, it's not something that somebody creates for me. I'm able to create that for myself. So why would I say if I get $5 that I have to save $4.50 and live off 50 cents for the rest of the month? That's kind of not realistic, but I'm unless somebody said, no, Tracy, this all you're getting is 50 cents. But when I do a budget, I'm able to create that based on the goals that I want. I can line it up. In order to get this, I need to do X, Y, and Z. And like even for this year, it's certain trips that I want to go on, and certain things that I want done, maybe done for my house, for the car. And I already know the dollar amount. I know how much I need to put away each month, each week, to get that, and I won't feel the pressure on anything, and still have every envelope full at all times without taking away from anything. But it took a while. Other than that, it was like, no, I want this and I want it now. I'll pull it, get it, and then, how am I going to do this? But if you sit down, plan, educate yourself on it, and again, you set goals, and those are the type of things that when you know your core values, that you should be able to do that and don't run outside of that.
Hmm.
So what I'm hearing is you're saying, first of all, analyze your current spending, like, really look at where you're spending your money at and areas that you want to educate yourself in as it relates to really moving towards your goals. And with that being said, you might have to reallocate your budget, increase spending in certain areas or decrease spending in certain areas to meet that goal. And sounds like also identify your priorities.
Mhm.
The trips are still important, long-term retirement or investing is still important. Do you identifying your priorities as it relates to what's important um to you? The key thing is, as I tell people all the time, these are your values, right?
Mhm.
So if you have people in your circle that or you're dealing with they're not in sync with your values, it's not going to work. If they're not flexible and want to adjust or want to hear what you say or if they're not wanting to work with you, it's just not going to work.
Hmm.
Mhm. And that's a lot of times that's what we do. And you know the stuff early, but you still it's like a circle trying to fit into a square. And it's
Yes.
never gonna fit no matter how you do it, it's gonna keep popping out some kind of way. And it's okay when you kind of identify it, when you true to yourself to express that with the other person. And you can still be, let's say if you're trying to form a relationship, you can still be friends, or if it's just a platonic relationship that person might only be good to do X, Y. You can't do Z with that because Z takes you out of it, makes you a square when you really a circle.
Meaning it takes you out of that comfort zone. It takes you
Mhm.
out of that. It breaks your boundaries that you've set for yourself.
Yes. Yes.
Mhm. So for budgeting, I think that like when Tracy heard the word budgeting and got taken back and got kind of antsy and squirmy, it's because with budgeting, it feels very restricted.
Mhm.
And for as we get older, as we begin to get older and age in life, um, we don't like restrictions. And but also we want to be more intentional about how we're spending our money. The same energy that you have in your teens, in your young adults, in your 20s is not going to be the same type of energy that you have to work maybe a 12-hour shift, to work a 20-hour shift. I know nurses work 12 to 24 hours and then take a day off. So as you begin to become older, that energy does not necessarily carry on continuously. So now you have to start being intentional about your money. You have to be intentional with your time and intentional about your energy. So if we're thinking about budgeting versus value-based spending, it doesn't mean that I want to do all these things, so I'm going to go out and I'm going to get 3 more jobs. That means maybe that we need to look at, okay, well, this is the job that I have. How do I reevaluate my money to support what really matters to me, but still feel like I'm not pushing my boundaries, pushing my energy, pushing my time. So one thing that kind of sticks out to me is what the Blemons who we had last year around this topic as well, um, writing out different envelopes for different categories and values in your life. So I know one of them is for me family intention and family obligations. So when I set out my 10 envelopes for my money management, I'm like, one of them is going to have the word family and family vacations on it because that is what I value. And another one is going to have personal growth, education, certifications, because I value my personal growth. And then another, so with that being said, I'm still going to be working the same amount of hours. I'm still going to be putting in the same amount of work and the same energy, but my money, maybe 20% is going to go to my family and my family vacations, and a 20% is going to go to my self-development, my education, my certifications. So so that value-based spending looks different, whereas you're putting your money where you value things the most. We're not going out and getting another 2 jobs because the cost of living is skyrocketing. No, we're reevaluating our habits so that we can still live with good intention and not feel like we out here working to the bone.
I am so glad you gave a shout out to the Blemons, because if you heard in my response too, I talked about the envelope. So it's something that we learned from the Just Me. So we ourselves took something out of that. And so to our listeners, we do ask that you go back and catch that replay on it. As a matter of fact, we'll probably put it up so y'all can hear those episodes during this time, because it's real it's a good fit for now, because a lot of people with the New Year's resolutions and want to get that money mindset and things like that. And they gave out some very, very good information and resources to help shift you to another way of thinking. So, hey, I got my envelope for the 4th of July, for the cruises, for the family emergencies. I got them blended. So we do thank y'all for being our guests. And maybe we can even get them back this year to let them know that the seed that they planted has actually blossomed.
Yes. Yes.
You know what, the envelopes, it doesn't seem overwhelming when you do it like that, because you're breaking it down in specific categories, and then you're putting money towards those categories as it relates to what you value and believe in. And like you said, this is education. So that is very, very good as it relates to how to really help with your value-based spending. Is really seek education. And this podcast has been very helpful as it relates to providing education to our listeners.
Awesome. Awesome. Well, I hope that everyone got some good nuggets and tidbits from this conversation. And until next time, guys, take care of yourself so we can all take care of each other. Bye.
Thank you so much for listening to Just Me Therapy podcast. If you are seeking further one-on-one diagnoses, interventions, and treatment plans, please consider scheduling an appointment with an individual counselor at Journeys Counseling Center, located in Greensboro, North Carolina. Journeys can be reached at 336-294-1349. The mission of Just Me Therapy podcast is to use authentic conversations to uplift one's mind, body, and soul. The goal of Just Me Therapy is to offer affordable education and insight to individuals who experience financial barriers to accessing individualized behavioral health care services. With that being said, the information, including opinions, advice, and recommendations discussed in this podcast, are intended for individual, informational, and educational purposes only. Such information is not intended to substitute the recommendations of your own licensed therapist or healthcare professional. Although we are licensed behavioral health professionals, we are not your licensed behavioral health professional. As a result, the advice mentioned on this podcast should not replace the recommendations offered by your own qualified health professional.